Hi everyone, Graham Couch here from the Lansing State Journal alongside my colleague Chris Solari from the Detroit Free Press after Michigan State's 40-0 win over Prairie View A&M. We have tried to capture the moon and also get the halo effect above my head.
The moon.
The moon, yeah, the moon,
and
yeah.
The lights,
yeah.
Not a halo.
Right.
Not a saint here.
You can see I'm a Columbia College alum with all the film lighting and anyway, we'll move on. Michigan State wins 40-0 against a team that is at least 3 levels down. Mid-major would be 1 level down. FCS at the top would be 2 levels really, and then the low FCS is what this was, which is probably the top of Division II. I would say would probably be even better in some ways. But Michigan State could only play the team in front of them. They did a lot of things that they needed to do. What we saw from Aidan Chiles was both the really good dodging defenders, using his legs, some good passes, and then also trying to make too much happen, throwing a pick, getting bailed out by an offsetting penalty call. Now, it's hard to know some of those plays he made with his legs. What is that against an athlete at Boston College or Ohio State? Does that play still work? But nonetheless, that is something I think they'd like to do with him. Defensively, they controlled it mostly. Offensive line, they've got some big issues for Michigan State. Running game was, had its moments. Your assessment?
Yeah. No,
thank you for
that's
watching.
A lot of that. I mean,
yeah.
Obviously the offensive line, even before Gavin Brocious' injury, there was a lot of backfield penetration again for the 3rd straight game, and that's going to just continue to increase. Particularly Boston College up front is strong, and that's going to be beyond a test. I mean, Boston College just went to Missouri and not only gave them a game, but should have probably won it and had it kind of pulled away at the end there. Aidan Chiles, young mistakes, you got to live with them, but the run game in particular, I mean, you got big hitters from Nate Carter, a couple big plays from K'Ron Lynch-Adams. They think he finished with 188 yards on the ground, but 60 of them came on Carter's touchdown. So I mean, it's long gainers, and the smaller stuff isn't really getting that 4 to 5 yard push. And against this is a defense that they face today. There's not anybody that they're going to face worse than this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think 9 of their 16 runs in the first half were for 4 yards or less. Like that's an okay stat if you're playing in the Big Ten. It's not an okay stat against these guys. And without Brocious now, I mean, you've already had some issues at tackle. You're getting mighty thin on the interior line. That's just going to be something that just is what it is, and they're going to have to deal with it. I think offensively you had 9 guys with catches, 7 of them with 2 or more catches, 4 with catches of 20 yards or more. Like a lot of guys got involved, and that's a good thing.
Which is expected. That's what you're supposed to do in a game like this.
And Tommy Schuster gets to play, goes 8 of 10, 97 yards, runs for a touchdown, which I think one of Michigan State's strengths is they do have a competent, capable backup quarterback, and you see that now, which obviously Aidan Chiles helps you get to your ceiling, but if you need him for a week or two, you see what
well, the interesting
Schuster
thing is I thought, in thinking about it, Tommy Schuster going from being a starter at North Dakota in the FCS level to a backup at Michigan State is kind of like you going from film school to journalism as a print columnist.
I don't want to waste those skills, so we do these videos. Yeah. This is what
it helps. You got to translate your skills at some point, and you saw that today with Schuster. I mean, listen, Tommy Schuster at the FCS level played the highest level of competition, and those FCS teams that he played in the Dakotas far different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a markedly different level. Those schools, with all the Pac-12 stuff, a lot of people were saying they should push to get Mountain West membership and take that next leap, because those programs are significantly far and above. I mean, North Dakota State and South Dakota State have won, I probably think, like last 7 championships or something like that. So he's seen good football, and I think you have to kind of take his assessment on what this game was. When I asked him, I said, how good is this team? You've seen that level. He said mid-level or low.
Yeah.
So
he's being nice.
A 40-0 score in a 40.5 point spread, by the way, with a missed extra point.
Although a missed field goal on the other end. There's some
missed field goal on the other end too. But listen, I mean, they beat Akron 52-0 2 years ago, and that defense that Michigan State had at that point, as we learned as the season went along, was not very good.
Right.
And the offense wasn't very good. I don't think you'd have to really put any alarm bells up unless you look at the 3-game composite and you start saying, okay, what's the issues? penalties continue to be an issue. The inability to
And
run.
Jonathan Smith got after them a
Yes.
little for that. I think he's frustrated there. Yeah.
Double-digit penalties for the third straight game. They did keep it under 100 yards, so at least the penalties changed and weren't necessarily all 15-yarders this time. The inability to run the ball in short yardage situations or get chunks, to give you favorable down and distance. I didn't think they did a good job of playing ahead of schedule a lot of times, and some of that was the penalties, some of that was the run game. And, obviously the offensive line. I mean, you lose Gavin Brocious, what looks like it's going to be a significant, possibly season-ending injury after you just lost Christian Phillips, who's starting at right guard. Neither of them had a lot of experience up to that point. Now you're pushing Dallas Fincher, who came to Michigan State and has predominantly played center. He's the number 3 right guard. Well, now he's the starting right guard, unless there's some sort of shuffling that goes on. And he played the rest of the game after that injury early in the third quarter, which tells you there isn't a lot of guys behind him.
Right.
And that's going to be a problem. I mean, they're already struggling, like I mentioned, with backfield penetration. Luke Newman struggled on the left side of guard. The tackles have struggled for one reason or another. So they've got a lot of issues to kind of clean up going into this Boston College.
I was going to say, let's spin this forward now, because I do think, like, they play now against a Boston College team that today at Missouri, and Missouri was on the front foot for a lot of that game, but lost 27-21 against a team that, who knows if their ranking's correct, because we don't know anything. We find out week to week in college football. But Missouri, a top 10 team as it's ranked right now. Boston College obviously beat Florida State, doesn't look that good, but then goes into Missouri, plays them competitively.
Tough environment.
Physical team.
Yeah.
And we're going to find out about Michigan State in the trenches in this next game.
Yeah.
And that's I mean, they're going to have to, like, can their line hold up? Can Chiles make really smart decisions and create when they can't? Exactly, we're going to find out a lot about Michigan State, I think, in Boston, and then obviously the next week Ohio State, and from here on.
That's exactly it. It's going to be that cumulative snowball effect right now. I mean, this is, Saturday was, you want to say Cream Puff City. I mean, it's going to be just brick wall after brick wall that they're going to run into the next few weeks. I mean, no one expected Boston College beforehand to be this good, except maybe in the trenches. But they've got a quarterback who I think is a better version of the guy that they faced in week 1, in the Castellanos kid. And he's mobile, he's elusive, but he also makes big-time mistakes as well, like Aidan Chiles does.
So there's an argument to be made, and we'll find this out as things go on, that their next 3 opponents are their toughest 3 on the schedule in a really short window because of the Friday game.
I sense an impending column and or quick take.
We may be looking at an early week column there, because Michigan obviously is struggling right now. Iowa, you don't know. I don't think Iowa's going to run away from them here, but you're going at Boston College, and Ohio State, who you haven't looked like you belong on the field with in any recent year, comes here, and then you're on the road at Oregon, who looked a lot better today against Oregon State. So we're going to find out if Michigan State can sort of contend it. It doesn't mean even if they lose all 3 of those games that the season's over, because they could very well lose those 3 games and still have a pretty decent season. But we're going to find out real quick, can they play up and to what degree?
Yeah, I mean, but listen, starting the season 3-0 for the first time since 2022 is a big deal. Chuck Brantley's pick, we didn't really talk about that. 100 yards. I mean, there were a lot of things that, and Jonathan Smith said this, there were a lot of moments that you could build on and a lot of things to like. But there's still a lot of work. And we knew this coming in. This was going to be a work in progress kind of year. And now you get to see where the work really is.
And how quickly some young guys can develop, and what you can do to sort of patchwork some things. We'll have complete coverage at freep.com, lsj.com, greenandwhite.com. Thanks for watching. See the moon?